Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. Hey guys, you are listening to the Calm Mom Podcast. It's Michelle here. Today on the show, we're going to dive into something that affects literally every relationship in your life, your communication. But we're taking a different angle today. I'm not giving you guys, talking scripts or tricks or tactics. We're going to talk about what's happening underneath the surface, right? We're going to pull back the curtain on how your nervous system state is shaping the way that we speak, the way you listen, the way you interact with people, particularly the people that you love the most, and how it's so often happening without you even realizing it. Okay. So let's get into it. First, I want to talk about why this matters. If you're anything like me, you've probably had moments where something comes out of your mouth and you just like kind of face, palm to the forehead where you're just like, oh man, why did I say that? Right? Why did I say that? Like, why did that just word vomit or come out to me? Or like, why did that comment come out that way? Or man, why I shouldn't have said that. Or maybe you can think back to scenarios where you're in a conversation or someone says something and man, you like want to respond, but you just can't. It's like the whole like cat got your tongue thing, right? Like you just freeze, or maybe the thoughts are coming so fast that you cannot put them into words and actually verbalize them. Or maybe you're in a scenario where someone says something and you want to respond, or you want to present your point, or you actually want to bring something up and like initiate a conversation, but you don't because you don't want to stir the pot. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. You don't want to seem rude. You don't want to cause conflict. All of these things happen. We've probably experienced all of these, right? In different scenarios over different times in our life. And it's not that you're just like bad at communicating or, you need to like do a certain thing or whatever. It's actually your nervous system just running the show. Surprise, surprise. Because when your body is in one of the 4 stress responses, right? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. When you're in those stress responses, you guys, it changes the way that your brain functions. It changes how you perceive what's going on around you, how you perceive what people say, how you perceive their tone, how you perceive their body language. It changes how you process everything that you're taking in. And then it also changes how you respond to information, to people, to words that they say, right? It's almost like when we're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, we're wearing this pair of tinted glasses, and everything that we're taking in from the other person is filtered through the glasses that we're wearing. It's filtered through this lens of like, are they out to get me, right? Is this a threat? Is there danger here? Could this be stressful? Everything's colored by our internal state. Our tone is colored by our internal state. If anyone's ever said like, man, I don't appreciate your tone right now. It's because of your internal state, right? How quickly you're speaking, your pacing, your cadence, your ability to pause and listen instead of just reacting and responding right away or preparing your response. It's so important that we sit down today and kind of walk through this because what do I always say, right? We can't intervene in a world that we cannot see. We cannot change what we're not aware of. So today is going to be all about building that awareness of what's happening in our communication with compassion, right? Not shame, not judgment, just like real insight into why communication might feel really hard sometimes, or really frustrating sometimes, or really confusing sometimes, or reactive, or what have you, and how we can actually harness the power of regulating our nervous system to help us communicate how we want to show up, right? And be communicating. So let's do this. Let's walk through each of those 4 survival responses: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And let's kind of explore how they affect your communication. So like what happens when you're in this state? And then I kind of want to shed some light on what it kind of feels like from the outside, right? For the person who's on the receiving end of your communication when you're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, how does it kind of come off? And then let's talk about how it feels in your body when you're communicating in this state, right? What are your somatic cues? What are those little red flags that are waving and they're like, hey, Michelle, you might be communicating from a place of your flight response right now or your freeze response right now. This is what it looks like. So we can catch it, have that awareness, right? Cannot intervene in a world we can't see. So we want to have the awareness so then we can intervene, right? Interrupt the pattern, shift the state of our nervous system. This is consciousness, you guys. Okay, so let's start by going through all 4. Let's start with fight mode. When we are in a fight response, and again, this is subconscious, right? We don't choose our stress response. Our nervous system detects some sort of threat. Someone's mad at me, someone's angry, they're saying something that feels really unjust, right? There's something that's lacking truth, and that makes us, our nervous system is like, whoa, we're going to step in here, right? Someone's being disrespectful, whatever it is. And our nervous system, through its wiring and patterning, chooses to send us into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn based on so many different things, right? So when you find that you're in a fight response in communication, what does that look like? Communication is combat. Surprise, surprise. Fight mode, communication is combat. So what does that look like in real life? Well, it might look like interrupting a lot. It might look like this deep need inside of us to like prove our point, justify our position, right? Make the other person see things our way, quote unquote, winning the conversation, right? We might get louder. We might get more aggressive. We might talk faster. We might get more reactive. In this fight mode of communication, we struggle so hard to actually listen. Like we might be hearing the words that are coming out of the other person, but it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. We struggle to actually listen and process what they're saying and hear them out, right? And give what they're saying a chance, trying to be empathic and have compassion and see their perspective. We really struggle to do that when we're in fight mode. We just want to respond. So on the receiving end of communicating with someone who's in fight mode, and this might be if you're in fight mode and someone else is on the receiving end of that communication, or maybe you have been in communication with someone else who is in fight mode, your partner, a parent, your own child, a coworker, right? Maybe you can relate to being on the receiving end of someone's communication that feels like combat, right? It feels like the other person isn't listening because they're not. They're just waiting to talk, right? You feel like you're being talked at and you're not really engaging in a conversation. You're not being spoken with. You're just being talked at. And when you're in this state on the receiving end of it, it can really feel like conversation is combat, right? Conversation is a battlefield. There's no collaboration there. And what's happening here is that when we're in fight mode, you guys, when anybody's in fight mode, body's trying to protect us from what it's perceiving as a threat. So if we feel like we're being attacked, if we feel like we're emotionally unsafe, if we feel like someone's disagreeing with us and just on like this visceral level, that doesn't feel safe, that feels dangerous, what does our body do in fight mode? It defends, right? Control, aggression, getting really intense. How does that feel in our body? These are the cues that I want you guys to start attuning to so that when you notice them, you're like, oh man, I must be in a fight response right now. I'm getting fired up. I don't want to communicate from this place, right? I don't want to wear the lenses of the fight response because I know I'm not hearing things clearly. I know I'm not even speaking from a place of regulation what are some of those somatic cues when you're in a fight response and communication is combat? Maybe you feel really hot. Your body just feels hot, right? Your face feels like red and hot. Your body just feels hot. Maybe you notice tension, right? Your jaw just kind of clenches as you're listening to them, or your like throat just kind of tightens up, or your shoulders clench, or they go up kind of by your ear, and everything just feels super tight. Your breathing probably changes, right? It gets quick and shallow. You're kind of like huffing and puffing. Maybe you pace around, right? Your movement is kind of erratic. Your fists might tense up. Your thoughts are kind of going a mile a minute. You just feel kind of fired up. Those are somatic cues that you have entered into a fight response. So if you notice it in your communication, you notice it in your somatic cues in your body, or you're noticing this in someone else, right? In your kids, for example, or your partner, or someone else you're trying to communicate with. If it's you, here's what you can do. Take a breath. Y'all just take a step back and breathe. Breathe before speaking, right? Literally like a couple physiological sighs. We talk about this all the time on the podcast. Breathing in through your nose until it feels like you're at the top of your breath. Your lungs are at capacity. And then at the top of your breath, one more quick inhale through your nose, and then exhale through your mouth. Long, slow exhale. You can do this without people really noticing what's going on around you. Just a couple of those as you're hearing someone out can help your brain shift out of this state of, I've got to like go on the attack and on the offensive, change your lenses per se, and help you get to a place where you have access to the type of communication that you actually want to engage in, right? And notice it. Just tell yourself internally, right? In your mind, whoa, Michelle, I feel myself getting really activated right now, right? Fight response is getting activated. I can feel it in my body. Let me just take a beat, right? Let me just take a second. Hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Can we finish this conversation in a second? And go, right? Go to the bathroom. Go get something from your car. Go get something from your desk that you forgot. And then come back and engage in that conversation from such a different place. And then the other thing in your body is that soft equals safe, right? Soften your body. You can do that while you're engaging in conversation with someone. Just let your shoulders drop, right? Let your jaw unclench. Take your tongue, peel it off the roof of your mouth, right? Soften your kind of belly and your gut. Just let everything drop and soften. And just that, guys, the tone in your muscles, your tone in your voice and communication will actually follow your physiology. Your body leads. So if your body softens, your tone will soften, your communication will soften. And that can be really helpful. But here's the thing with fight response in particular about all of these, really, you want to catch it before you're in like full blown Hulk mode, right? Before you're just like popping off and you're red hot and it's kind of too late, right? Like you can't unsqueeze that tube of toothpaste. Like once it's out, it's out. So trying to catch it when you're starting to get activated, when you feel yourself starting to get triggered, starting to get angry, right? The breathing starting to change, the body temperature starting to change, feeling fired up, like starting to simmer. Then you want to do these grounding breaths, naming your state, softening your physiology before you're reaching like red light Hulk zone. Okay, so that's fight mode. Now let's talk about when we're in flight, okay? Flight mode communication is avoidance, right? We're just like dipping out. I'm just gonna like, ostrich this, put my head in the sand. We're not having this conversation. And that's what it looks like. We avoid anything uncomfortable. We avoid what might feel like a hard conversation. We avoid anything that someone else might not want to hear, where it could get awkward, where we're really quick to like deflect or get defensive, or maybe we just change the subject. Like we can feel it tiptoeing towards somewhere that feels like it might be uncomfortable. And we're just quick to like change the subject. Or it might also look like we sit through it, right? We hate every minute of it. It's so uncomfortable. And then after the conversation has happened, what are we doing? We're overthinking it. We're dissecting it. We're ripping it apart. We're going through every little piece and being like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I can't believe he said that. Man, why didn't I think of this? And we're like running it through our mind on loop. Okay. That's what communication avoidance in flight mode can look like on the outside. Now, if you're on the receiving end of this, right? If you're trying to communicate with someone who's in flight mode, or if you're in flight mode and someone else is trying to communicate with you, this is what it might feel like for them. When you're on the receiving end of communication avoidance, it's so frustrating because it feels like you can't get a direct answer, right? It feels like the other person is just like avoiding everything, delaying it. Hey, can we talk about this tomorrow? Hey, I'm too tired to talk about this now. Let's figure this out later. Everything just feels like it's being swept under the rug and it's not being dealt with, right? The person's always like too busy or too tired, or it's not a good time to talk, or it's really hard to get like a frank discussion and have them be engaged when you want to address something. And it's because when we or someone else is in flight mode in our communication and we're avoiding, the nervous system has perceived that confrontation is unsafe, right? So what does it do? It tries to flee. It tries to escape emotionally. It tries to escape mentally, right? We try to escape even physically. We just have this deep, intense urge to get away, right? Even if that just means like shutting down or explaining our way out of discomfort. What does that feel like in our body so we can grow an awareness of when we're starting to kind of edge towards this state? Well, we might feel really restless, right? We might feel like our legs are starting to kind of get jittery or kind of bouncy and restless, and we just want to leave. Maybe we start fidgeting. Maybe our fingers are kind of tapping, or we're playing with our phone, or we're playing with, I don't know, a pen or something that we have nearby. We just want to like, if we're on the phone, we just want to get off the phone. If we're in a room with someone, if we're at, I don't know, coffee or dinner, like we just want to leave. We feel like our heart is racing. We feel like our breath is short. Nothing about it feels safe, right? Nothing about it feels okay. Everything in our body is like, let's get out of here. So if you can relate to that, or if you've been in conversation with someone, like maybe this is the patterned response of your partner and it's really frustrating for you, or maybe your kids, right? You try to talk to them about something that's happened or that they said or something that might be uncomfortable, and they'll just like avoid it and want out and what have you. Here's what you can try instead. If this is you or something you can even encourage and whomever you're with, slow it down, y'all. Slow it down. If it's you, right, instead of avoiding the conversation altogether, everything in you wants to just leave and dip out, right? I don't want to talk about this right now. Instead of saying that, can you just buy yourself a little bit of time? Hey, I get this is important to you. I need a little bit of time to like regulate my nervous system so I can actually hear you clearly. And this can be like a really productive conversation. I'm not avoiding it. I do want to talk to this about you, but can I have just a few minutes to think about this? And maybe like go for a walk around the block, and can we revisit this in 30 minutes? Or can I come back to this later, right? Give yourself some time. You can slow it down without avoiding it altogether. You can still validate and acknowledge the other person's desire to actually deal with this thing, but you can still give yourself some space, right? The yes and then bring your body back online. When we flee, when we want to dip out, our body wants to we want to leave our body. We're like, I want to get out of here, right? I'd rather have like an out of body experience. I'd rather actually look from the outside in on this than actually be present and participate in it from a grounded place, because that's not happening. That doesn't feel safe. So what can you do to get back into your body? Well, try a body scan, right? As you're sitting there, just notice your body, right? What are my feet doing right now? Okay, they're on the ground. Okay, my feet actually feel really cold. Wow, my legs feel jittery. Okay, I can feel my chair supporting my body weight in my seat, right? I notice that my breathing feels a certain way right now, right? I can feel the temperature of my breath coming in and it's warm as it leaves my body. Just a body scan like that can help anchor you into the present and help your body feel safer to stay and not flee. Or maybe it's progressive muscle relaxation. I love this. This is hard to do subtly without anyone noticing. But man, if you are like, hey, I have to go to the bathroom, can we pick this up in 2 minutes? Go to the bathroom, right? Progressive muscle relaxation. Squeeze every muscle in your body. Hold it tight, and then release it, right? Softening. Let your body do that a couple times. And just that can help you come back into your body, bringing your body back online and helping you to anchor in the present so you can have this conversation without fleeing, right? Without avoiding. And practice this in small doses, you guys. Practice having difficult or uncomfortable conversations with people who are safe in small doses to kind of build your tolerance for this, right? To get those reps in. It's like a muscle, working a muscle, exercising a muscle. Can I say one thing that feels like it might, cause a stir that the other person might not agree with or want to hear? Right? It doesn't have to be like this big blowout, but like, hey man, you don't have to go from like 0 to vulnerable in one conversation, but where can you kind of titrate this? Where can you kind of like stretch your edge of discomfort just a little bit, right? And stay present and then be proud of yourself. Like, man, I said the thing I wanted to say, right? I heard what they were saying, even though it felt uncomfortable and it kind of hurt my feelings and it kind of hurt me. And I wanted to just avoid it and dip out and not hear any of it, right? I sat there and I was present and I listened, right? And then I engaged. Like little doses of this, you guys, can help you build your tolerance to stay present in difficult conversations instead of avoiding them over time. Okay, so that's the flight response. Let's move on to the third one, which is freeze mode. Fight, flight, freeze. When you are in freeze mode, it is communication shutdown, right? We are tapping out, shutting her down. What does this look like? It might look like you're engaging in conversation with someone, and then all of a sudden they say something, or they don't say something, or their tone changes, or you get a look from them, or whatever it is. And all of a sudden, bam, that didn't feel safe anymore to your nervous system. We go quiet, right? We go offline mid-conversation. Or maybe as it hits and we're in conversation with someone, or we can feel it coming, we like blank out, right? And all of a sudden it's like, I don't even know what to say. Like nothing is coming to me right now. It's just like radio silence up there. And like, I can't even formulate the words to engage in this conversation. It might feel like we're really numb, right? Like they're saying things and we're like, man, I should feel a certain way about that. Like that should actually really tick me off, or that should make me feel really sad, or that like that actually is something I should be happy for them about. But instead, my body's tapped out and I just feel kind of numb. I don't feel much of anything at all, right? I kind of feel like I'm actually kind of spaced out or zoned out. Or maybe we want to reply, but it's a struggle, right? Like I want to say something in response to that, but I'm just like I can't get the words out. That's just being in a freeze response, you guys. It's shut down. And when we're on the receiving end of this without understanding what's going on, or if you're tending to run this response, if you're in communication that feels tough, this is what it might feel like for the other person on the receiving end. It can feel like you're being ignored. It can feel like you're not being listened to because you're communicating, but like nothing's being acknowledged, right? Like you're not getting what you would expect as a response from the other person. The head nods, that mm-hms, right? The words coming back and engaging in that like little tennis match of conversation where there's a back and forth. It's just like you're talking to a wall. That can be triggering in and of itself, right? If you're talking to someone in a freeze response, it can feel like they just shut down, right? They're going offline. They're kind of disappearing from the conversation emotionally. Maybe you've been in a conversation and this has happened before and you felt like this. And what happens is that whoever it is that's in the freeze response, guys, their nervous system has just slammed the brakes, right? That's what happens when flight and fight both feel impossible, right? Your nervous system's like, nope, we're not going to win this fight. And nope, we don't have time to get away. We're not going to fight. We're not going to flee from this. Our best response right now, again, all subconscious, is bam, we're going to go still. We're going to shut her down. We're going to disconnect. And it's not because we don't care, right? If you're on the receiving end of this, it's not because the other person doesn't care. It's because their body has literally shut down and doesn't know how to move forward safely. So if you notice as you're listening to this, like, oh man, that happens to me sometimes, right? What might be some of the somatic cues where your body is telling you like, hey, red flag, Michelle, hey, red flag, body, right? We're trying to communicate that we're moving toward a freeze response. It might look like we start just kind of spacing out, right? We miss a few words or a sentence and then we come back. It might feel like brain fog. It might feel like this sense of numbness or disconnection from our body, or like we're observing this whole conversation from the outside and we're not actually partaking in it, right? We're not actually there. It might feel like we all of a sudden get drained, really low energy, right? It feels really taxing. We might notice a difference in like, we just feel flat, or our communication is flat, or our affect is flat, or just kind of like the difference in our cadence and our tone and our inflection just stops, and everything's just like one word answers, or just really flat communication. So what do we do if we start to notice this response? Well, like the flight response, right? You got to get back into your body. You've got to get out of your head and into your body. And when you're in this freeze response, guys, gentle, 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 gentle. Something as simple as just kind of like squeezing your hands together, rubbing your hands together, right? Tapping your feet on the ground or inside of your shoes and just noticing that sensation, right? Making conscious awareness, conscious effort to notice what's happening in your body and get your body back online, right? Giving yourself kind of like a little hug, right? Crossing your arms in front of you and just squeezing up and down your forearms, rocking your body and noticing that feeling. All of these things can be really helpful to bring us back online, orienting to your environment, right? Grounding in any way you can, wherever you're at. Looking around, right? We have our senses, like start just naming off things. What are 5 things I can see? And in your mind, just go around as you're trying to engage in this conversation, right? I see their glasses. I see their shoes. I see the plate on the table. I see the chair at the next table. I see a car driving by. Okay, what are 4 things that I can hear? Well, I can hear the sound of their voice. Maybe I can hear my heart beating in my chest. I can hear, glasses clinking around me. Okay, what are some things that I can taste? Well, right now I taste, the lemon in my water. And just kind of going through and bringing yourself back to the present, orienting yourself reminds your body, hey, threats past, right? We're actually safe here. Even though it doesn't feel like it, something's being triggered, we are safe and we're here in the present, right? And you can actually also, this is like once you've maybe grounded yourself a little bit and come back online, it's okay. And this is something I've tried to do before too, because I used to run this response all the time, you guys. I remember it even as a kid. Like if I was getting in trouble with my parents, I would have so many things I wanted to say, but like if they were mad at me, I just shut down. I could not speak. And as I matured and got better skills and more awareness of my nervous system, and then like felt safe in conversation with, maybe my husband or what have you, you can communicate your freeze, you guys. Hey, I'm not sure what's happening right now. But I'm like feeling really stuck and I have ideas, but like the words aren't coming for me to respond right now. I just need a minute to kind of like gather myself. I'm going to run to the bathroom. And then when I get back, I do want to like acknowledge what you're saying and continue this conversation. Like you can say that. It feels vulnerable. It is vulnerable, but that's okay, right? You can give that a shot and see if that's helpful. Okay, so that's the freeze response. And then finally is fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. The last stress response I want to talk about today is fawn mode. When we are fawning, our communication is all for approval, you guys. Our number one goal is that we are going to stay safe by making the other person happy, approve of us, pleased, right? This is like the ultimate people pleasing. What does it look like? We over agree, right? We find ourselves like going along with things and agreeing with things that we're like, wait, I don't even agree with that. Why did I just say that I agree with that? Like, I actually don't agree with that. But we do it because we're in a fawn response, right? We laugh at a joke that's actually not funny. We're like, yeah, I see what you're saying there. When we're like, I actually have I don't see what you're saying there. I think you're actually off base with that, right? We avoid conflict at all costs. So we just kind of go along with a narrative or go along with a story, or we're like, self-abandoning and being like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have said that, or whatever it is, right? Affirming the other person when we don't actually agree with what's going on, prioritizing their needs above our own, right? Or just like saying it, right? You're right, without actually meaning that you agree that they're right in whatever it is that they're justifying, right? We're just communicating for the sake of keeping the peace and keeping them happy. We're fawning. When you're on the receiving end of this, so if this is a communication response that you tend to fall into, if you're feeling threatened in whatever way, and someone's on the receiving end of this, or maybe you've been on the receiving end of this and you can relate to what it feels like. It feels like the other person's agreeing with you on everything, but then nothing changes, right? You're like sharing your hot take on something. You're sharing your position. You're making a request of something that you'd like them to do in the future. Hey, it'd mean a lot to me if like going forward, instead of just putting garbage on top of the full garbage can, if you actually took the bag out and brought it out to the curb, like that would really be helpful to me. And they're like agreeing with you. They're like, yeah, I got you. I'll do that. I whatever. Like, they're just agreeing with you, but then like nothing changes, right? It might be because they were in a fawn response and they were just communicating for approval and making whatever discomfort in that conversation pass, but they weren't actually hearing you out, and they actually had something to say, but they didn't say it. And then like nothing changes, right? Or it's like their attention is on you, but like their voice is missing. Like you can kind of see them, but like what they're saying isn't matching what you're reading in them, right? Like they say yes, but it doesn't mean much, right? And it's because it's coming from this place of self-abandonment. And that's fawn response, you guys. It's the nervous system's way of staying safe through connection, right? I'm going to say yes, I'm going to make you happy. And if I make you happy, then that's how I'm going to stay safe. And if your body learned that safety comes from being liked, safety comes from, I keep my caregivers happy, safety comes from doing the things that they approve of, our default might be people pleasing. Our communication default, when it gets weird, might be seeking approval, even when it costs us our authenticity, even when it costs us truth, even when it costs us our voice, right? What are some common somatic cues that you are in a fawn response in communication? This used to happen to me all the time. You get a really tight throat, right? It feels like it's really hard to like say the thing, right? Your voice just feels like so tight and so shaky and so scratchy. It's like hard to get the words out. Your throat feels physically like dry and tense. Like it feels like you need water. It's really hard to get like that lump in your throat. It's really hard to just get the words out, right? Or you start to get this inner panic that like they're upset with you. Oh my gosh, they're mad. Is someone mad at me? Is it because I did this? Is it because I did that? Are they mad at me right now? And they're saying something, and that inner panic is just starting to go off, and bam, all of a sudden we're just like, no, I didn't mean that. I love it when you do this, right? Oh, I'm so sorry that you took it that way. Like, and we just start like placating. And the people pleasing comes through because there's this inner panic that someone might be upset with us. And actually, we might also feel this pressure to like immediately, it's just like, keep the peace, right? Agree, fawn, start complimenting them, right? Start over apologizing. And we're just going to keep the peace in this thing and like restore this and make sure that they feel happy and they still like us or what have you. We're just keeping the peace. Bam, that's our immediate go-to response. If you notice this coming up in yourself and you're starting to get into this fawn response, right? You notice like that thought of like, oh my gosh, are they upset with me? I have to make this right? My voice feels shaky all of a sudden. I'm like, my throat feels really tight and dry. Pause, right? Buy yourself a little time, just like we were talking about earlier. Connect to your own needs. So often when we jump into this fawn response, right? We're just worried about like meeting the needs of the person in front of us so they'll still like us. Whoa, I notice I'm doing this. Can I just pause here for a second? What do I actually want to say here? How do I actually feel about this? Is there any part of what's going on in this for me that I can like try to express? I don't have to go again 0 to 100 right now. I don't have to like step on a soapbox and like defend myself and my position and like go on a rant. No, but is there any part of what I actually think about this, how it actually made me feel, that I can respond to in a way that honors what's actually coming up for me, right? And maybe an unmet need that I have, a request that I want to make, or something that I want to respond to in what they're saying without just telling them that they're right and all of these things. So they'll keep liking me, right? Practice, y'all. Practice this in places and with people that feel safe. low stakes settings, right? To build that muscle of having healthy conflict, right? Of speaking the things, asking for the things that you want to ask for without always looking out for everyone else, keeping them happy at your own expense, right? It's the yes and. What do we do with all of this? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and how it impacts our communication. Start with awareness always. Notice your pattern, right? As I was going through all 4 of these, which one of these stress responses, you guys, shows up for you when you're in a conversation that might be uncomfortable or hard? Do you tend right away, you're like, oh man, the minute you started talking about the fight response, girl, that's me. I just start like going, my voice gets louder. I'm like talking a mile a minute. I'm having to explain what's going on. I want people to see my side of the story. I want to justify. And maybe that was you. Or maybe when I was going through the fawn response right now, you're like, oh man, that's me, right? The minute anyone at work like might make a comment about, something I've been working on, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should change that. And I go back and I rewrite it all the way that they said, even though I thought like I made some really good points in there, I just wanted to keep the peace and keep them happy, right? Or maybe it's the flight response. Man, anytime my husband like brings up something that, about maybe the way I responded to one of our kids or parenting decision that I made, immediately I just like, I'm out. Like I just want to dip out. I don't want to have the conversation. I put it off. And like, he's someone who wants to talk about it right away, but I'm like, no, I can't talk about this right now. I'm too stressed out. Like, it's not a good time. Let's talk about this later. And then I just kind of I notice that I keep putting it off, right? Start with noticing your own patterns. And then before you try to change your words, right? Before you like come up with a plan and everything, y'all get in your body. Notice your physiology, right? As you're communicating and it's starting to feel a little like, what happens with your breath? What happens with your body, your posture? What happens with your muscles, right? Where do you feel tension? Do you immediately get like a fiery sensation in your gut, right? Do your shoulders, mine do, come up by your ears, right? And all of a sudden, like everything in my upper body is just like so tight, right? And then like practice micro regulation, you guys. You don't need to like pause and go do a 30-minute breath work session. Like that's ridiculous. How about one conscious breath? Right? How about taking a sip of your water and just like grounding yourself for a moment? Okay. And then if this is something that you really want to work through and become more aware of and have tools to help you create space so you're not so quick to like, bam, jump into one of these stress responses when you're in communication that can feel uncomfortable or hard or what have you. If you have not yet, go ahead and download the Nervous System Reset Guide in the show notes, you guys. There's a link there. It's free. But inside this guide, you're going to find like body-based tools I use myself and that I teach to help you get back into a state of like, okay, I can actually communicate from a regulated place, right? It doesn't have to take forever. It's safe, right? It can be really effective. And the link is in the show notes. It'll help you get a better understanding of what's going on in your body, why body-based tools are so helpful. And then I have a few different regulation resources in there that you guys can play around with and try. Okay, so big picture takeaway. This isn't really about being, I don't know, like a super skilled, eloquent communicator. It's about catching your patterns, right? This is real. Can you understand what your body does when it feels threatened or unsafe or uncomfortable or overwhelmed? So instead of just blindly jumping into these patterns and them hijacking our communication, we can lead in our spaces with presence instead of just trying to protect ourselves all the time, okay? Because here's the thing, my friend. I'm going to say this and we'll end here. Your voice matters. It matters. Your voice matters. Your thoughts matter. Your opinions matter. Your needs matter. You deserve to be heard from a place of regulation, right? We all deserve to be heard. And it's so much more effective when we're not coming from a place of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, because that's not us. That's us with the lenses, right? That's us with the triggers. That's us with the pain and the wounds and the hurts and all of these things that color our perception and then how we respond. Your voice, your actual grounded self voice deserves to be heard, right? Your calm voice, your clear voice, your regulated voice. So work through this, notice your pattern. And then like you can even come back and re-listen to this as you're working through how you communicate and noticing your somatic cues when you're starting to jump into one of these responses in a conversation, and then really working to help yourself shift out of that, coming back into my body, coming back into safety with that reminder that, hey, I'm doing this because my voice matters. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love y'all so much. I'll talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.